Naming projects is always hard for me. Myriad projects have gone through their life cycle either unnamed or having their name be a simple description of what they are. But this robot has so much personality, it deserved a strong name. I always consult history and myth for names, preferring something that reflects the value and life cycle of a project, and this project cycle is unusual. I'll have a large push in the beginning to design, build, and code this robot, but then it will retire to a part of my streams, improving and changing behind the scenes. I began assembly with its name pushed to the back of my mind. I knew to be successful, I'd have to meticulously count what hardware I need and organize the mechanical, electrical, and software systems to work in concert. The assembly phase is truly a trial by fire. It is here where things either work or fail, mechanically at least. This build was actually the second attempt after the previous version's bearings were too loose, and a number of other parts just didn't quite work together the way I'd wanted. I couldn't get the robot to move properly, I couldn't take it apart and reassemble it, it was just a mess. Even on this version, with those lessons in mind, I encountered hard-to-access screws, like these, that I should have placed better. During this process, though, is when I remember the name of a man I admire, General Dwight D. Eisenhower. Eisenhower was frustrated in World War I when he couldn't get an overseas assignment, but his true skills, which his superiors saw, were in organization and logistics. These talents were noticed during peacetime, and he began rising through the ranks, joining the general staff at the start of World War II. He was soon charged with creating plans for the defeat of the Axis in Europe and the Pacific. The electrical wiring required patience and persistence. The wires were very limiting and made the robot's movements so difficult because I insisted on them being concealed within the limited space of the robot's chassis. Then came the breath of life, the code. The program would need to take input from Twitch chat to determine its action, and seamlessly merge the software and electromechanical systems. General Eisenhower, when he reached 5-star General of the Allies, had to balance the egos of those around him with the daily operations and the success of the strategy. He did this to great success in the orchestration of D-Day, an unprecedented collective invasion of Europe to throw back the Nazis. After the war, Eisenhower became Supreme Commander of NATO, making him the highest military official in the West, and arguably the world. This is the pinnacle of any military man's career, and eventually he retired. After long periods of troubleshooting and testing, it was time for this project to retire, but it will still be a presence on my live streams. In fact, this retirement would be just as active and more public than its development cycle where the true work was done. Eisenhower eventually retired from NATO to become the 34th President of the United States. Could you imagine that? Retiring from General of all the West to become the leader of a single nation. It almost seems like a demotion in comparison. However, Eisenhower's career neatly paralleled the development of my robot. Even the style of future development, where I will be making small adjustments in the background, synchronizes with Eisenhower's leadership style, preferring to let his subordinates take the credit so he can operate freely in the background. Thus, Eisenhower seems a fitting and honorable name for this robot. Although he has retired, I doubt we will have seen the last of him. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content, and feel free to let me know in the comments if I left something important out. Have a wonderful day, and onwards.